Friends, if you want to watch super hit movie Master Z, IP Man Legacy, in English, then you must like this video if you're visiting our channel for the first time. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Friends, in today's video, the movie we are going to talk about is called Master Z, IP Man Legacy. We will talk about what this movie is and where you can watch it, all the interesting facts about this movie. In today's video, I am going to tell you, I am also going to give you all the information on which OTT platform or on which satellite channel you will get to watch this movie. Also, we will talk in detail about the technical department, music department, pre-production, filming, post-production, budget, box office collection of this film. We will also talk about the story of this film, and I will also give you a small review of the story of this film. Apart from this, we will discuss about the facts of this film's storylines, starcast actors' performance in the film, and which character has played which role. That's why I request you friends to watch this video till the end, so let's start the video. Master Z, IP Man Legacy is a 2018 Chinese martial arts film directed by Yuan Wu-ping and produced by Raymond Wang and Donnie Yen. It is a spin-off of the Ip Man film series and takes place after the 2015 film Ip Man 3. This film stars Max Zhang, Dave Bautista, Michelle Yeoh, Tony Jaa, and Liu Yan, and was released on the 21st December 2018. Plot: after being defeated by Ip Man, Chung Tin-chi lives a depressed life moonlighting as a mercenary before choosing to leave behind martial arts altogether and instead open a grocery store on the ground floor of his house. While on a delivery run, he runs into an opium addict named Nana and her friend Julia, who are both fleeing from drug dealer Tsosai Kit. Tin-chi ends up fighting with Kit's gang and defeats them single-handedly. The Royal Hong Kong Police Force arrive and arrest everyone. Kit and his gang are released after bribing a corrupt senior police officer, while Nana and Julia are released by name-dropping Julia's brother, Fu, the owner of Gold Bar, one of the most popular bars on Bar Street. Tin-chi is eventually released late at night and is unable to take his son to a steakhouse called Petrus for his birthday. Following the incident, Kit decides to seek out Tin-chi, with his whole gang setting fire to Tin-chi's building. Tin-chi barely escapes with his son Feng while being pursued by the gang and Sadi, a hired assassin. He is offered shelter at Fu's home by Julia and works as a waiter at Gold Bar to pay his rent. Angered by the injuries to his son, Tin-chi retaliates and sets Kit's opium den on fire. Kit's older sister, Song Nan Quan, the head of a family crime syndicate, wishing to transition to legal businesses, prevents Kit from taking revenge and visits Tin-chi at Gold Bar to compensate him for all damages Kit caused and for Tin-chi to drop the matter. Tin-chi refuses the money, impressing Quan. At the same time, Tin-chi forges an increasingly close friendship with Fu over their shared pasts in martial arts. Kit, attempting to escape from the shadow of his sister, decides to move into heroin dealing. He peddles his drugs on Bar Street for Owen Davidson, the owner of Petrus, who uses the restaurant as a front for his drug business. Tin-chi tips off Quan about the business, who requests more time to settle the matter with Kit. After finding Nana in a back alley, Kit and his gang kill her by forcing her to overdose on heroin. Tin-chi and Fu fight their way to the syndicate's headquarters, where they fight with Kit and Quan. Quan, attempting to placate them, cuts off Kit's right arm and forces him to reveal where he stores his heroin. Fu exposes the drugs to the media, which makes newspaper headlines. Soon after, Davidson has corrupt police officers plant drugs at Gold Bar and arrest Fu on drug charges. After arresting him, the senior police officer hands Fu over to Davidson to be killed in an unfair fight. Following the discovery that Davidson murdered Fu, Tin-chi fights with Davidson at his restaurant, during which he regains his confidence in using Wing Chun for good. The senior police officer arrives to arrest Tin-chi, despite Tin-chi's testimony that the heroin belongs to Davidson. Instead of complying, Sergeant Fai arrests his superior for corruption, assault, and lets Tin-chi go free. Davidson attempts to escape in the ensuing chaos, but is assassinated by Sadi, who had been hired by Quan before leaving Hong Kong with Kit. Tin-chi returns to Julia's apartment and reunites with his son. The three of them share a meal together. In a mid-credits scene, Feng uses Wing Chun to defeat the boy who bullied him earlier. Cast Max Zhang as Chung Tin-chi, a former Wing Chun master who was defeated by Ip Man in a duel behind closed doors and subsequently becomes a mercenary. Dave Bautista as Owen Davidson, the owner of Petrus and leader of a drug smuggling syndicate. Michelle Yeoh as Tso-Nan Kwan, the leader of the Chung Lok organized crime syndicate who wants to turn the gang into a legitimate business entity. Tony Jaa as Sadi the warrior. Liu Yan as Julia Xingyu as Fu, Julia's brother and former martial artist, who now owns Gold Bar on Bar Street. Kevin Cheng as Tsosai Kit, younger brother of Tsongan Kwan. He initially runs an opium den, but becomes a heroin dealer behind his sister's back on Bar Street. Chrissy Chow as Nana, an opium addict, and Julia's close friend Patrick Tam as Ma King Sang, a former triad leader and martial arts disciple. Brian Thomas Burrell as a Inspector of Royal Hong Kong Police, Philip Kung as Phi. A Sergeant of Royal Hong Kong Police, Adam Pak as Wang Young, a Constable of Royal Hong Kong Police, Yuanhua as Agent Henry Zhang as Chung Feng. Tin Chi Sun Home Media. The film was released in North America on DVD and Blu-ray by Wellgo USA Entertainment on 23 July 2019. Citation needed. In its first week of release, it sold 11,940 DVDs and 18,446 Blu-rays, with total estimated sales of $430,000. Citation needed. Reception. The review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes reported that 89% of critics have given the film a positive review, based on 38 reviews, with an average rating of 6.7/10. The site's critics' consensus reads, Master Z Ip Man Legacy marks a departure from previous entries in the franchise, but its thrilling action set pieces remain every bit as satisfying. At Metacritic, the film has a weighted average score of 72 out of 100 based on 14 critics, indicating generally favorable reviews. Elizabeth Kerr of The Hollywood Reporter wrote, Master Z The Ip Man Legacy doesn't have much on its mind besides delivering on fights, and in that aspect it succeeds. Edmund Lee of South China Morning Post wrote that Master Z is undoubtedly a feast for martial arts movie lovers, and gave the film 3.5 of 5 stars. 9. Richard Kuipers of Variety wrote, despite his skimpily defined character, Zhang hits the mark as a likable guy who's trying to put violence behind him and lay inner demons to rest. Sequel. In April 2019, it was reported that Max Zhang is set to reprise his role in a sequel to Master Z, Ip Man Legacy. The sequel is reported to be taking a budget cut, down to $13 million, from the first film's budget of $28 million. Master Z, Ip Man Legacy. The story's old hat, but the visuals rock in an Ip Man series spin-off featuring Michelle Yeoh and Dave Bautista. Top-class fighting and fabulous production design overcome the stale plot of Master Z, Ip Man Legacy, a 1960s set spin-off from the hit trilogy about the legendary Wing Chun master who trained Bruce Lee. With Max Zhang stepping capably into the spotlight as a former Ip Man challenger who wants to live peacefully but can't avoid trouble, Master Z is professionally executed by veteran action director-choreographer Yuan Wu-ping, Kill Bill, and given a star power lift by the casting of Michelle Yeoh and Guardians of the Galaxy team member Dave Bautista in villain roles. This expansion of the IPN universe performed credibly in China and Hong Kong in early 2019 and has the required combination of grunt and gloss to repeat the feat when it opens April 12th on U.S. screens. Since 2008, no fewer than 7 Ip Man-related features have been released, including Wong Kar-wai's The Grandmaster, 2013. Following hot on the heels of this film is Ip Man 4, the latest chapter in the Wilson Yip-directed, Donnie Yen starring series that's scheduled for domestic release in July. It will be interesting to see whether Ip Man fatigue will set in, or if the series will enjoy even greater international success, with a story rumored to feature Bruce Lee's character more prominently than previous installments have. In the meantime, writers Edmund Wong and Chan Tai Lee pick up where their Ip Man 3 screenplay left off, introducing Chung Tin-chi, Zhang as a formidable Wing Chun exponent who challenged Ip Man for top dog status and lost out in a duel staged behind closed doors. Tired of being a hired heavy for a scuzzy crook, Yuanhua, Chung announces he's finished with fighting and just wants to open a general store and be a good dad to bright-eyed son Feng, Henry Zhang. As with Ip Man 3, there's virtually no information about Chung's professional past or personal history, such as how he became a single parent. Despite his skimpily defined character, Zhang hits the mark as a likable guy who's trying to put violence behind him and lay inner demons to rest. Naturally, that can only be a temporary situation, and it's not long before Chung comes to the rescue of opium-addicted bar girl Nana, Chrissy Chow, and her bestie Linda, Li Wan, delightful. Chung's noble action brings him into conflict with Kit, Kevin Cheng, a drug-dealing dirtbag whose cool and calm sister, Kwan, heads up the Chunglock triad and wants to go legit. The film's design and action elements move into overdrive after Kit torches Chung's shop and Linda offers shelter to Chung and Feng at Golden Bar, a glitzy hotspot run by her honest brother, Fu Nasan. Production designers Raymond Chan and Ko Chuk Lam construct a gloriously fake replica of Wan Chai's famous Bar Street district for Chung and new buddy Fu to face down Kit and his endless supply of goons. Highlights of the fists and feet engagements include Chung kicking butt while bouncing between neon signs with the agility of Spider-Man. Wire work is obvious much of the time, but it hardly diminishes the impact. The absolute standout is a duel at Chunglock headquarters, involving Chung, Fu, Kit, and a saber-wielding Kwan. The outcome of this encounter is one of the few moments in which action and emotion coalesce explosively. Yeoh is dynamite as the immaculately coiffed boss whose supreme control of the organization and genuine desire to end its criminal activities makes Kwan charismatic, intriguingly sympathetic, and deserving of her own spin-off feature. Yeoh certainly fares better than Bautista, who plays Owen Davidson, a restaurateur and president of the philanthropic Sino-Western merchant Asen, who's in cahoots with Kit and has the smarmy British colonial police chief, Brian Thomas Burrell, in his pocket. Fight-wise, Bautista delivers the goods, but his thinly sketched bad guy never amounts to much more than a stock-standard nasty guilo. Least served of the name cast is Thai martial arts king Tony Jaa, Ong Bak, who's set up early as a silent, black-clad assassin only to drift out of the picture for long stretches and pop back up without making much of an impression. While there's nary a surprise in the formulaic plot, and the philosophical complexities underpinning Wing Chun hardly rate a mention, Legacy never stops impressing visually. Costume designer Joyce Chan goes wild creating pop art-inspired pantsuits, pastel twin sets, and slinky ski pants for female cast members, while outfitting the men in brightly hued blazers and wonderfully garish polyester open-neck shirts. One can only imagine how much hairspray was required to keep the dazzling parade of beehive, bouffant, and bubble hairdos in place. These craft contributions combine marvelously to invoke the spirit of a classy Shaw Brothers production, or a prestige Cathay Films presentation of the day. The film's eye-catching decors and exciting action are beautifully captured in the lush images of co-cinematographers Sepe Van Grieken and David Fu. The only bum note is a score that lays on strings and piano that are frequently far too schmaltzy even for this kind of film. All other technical aspects are bang on. The middle half of Master Z Ip Man Legacy, a new martial arts spin-off of the mega-popular action biopic series, feels like a self-defense, and maybe a defense of the preceding film series, which is striking since the Ip Man movies, most of which starred Donnie Yen as Man Ip, the formative Wing Chun instructor who went on to mentor Bruce Lee, are relatively unambitious action movies that pit civic-minded Up against cartoonishly sadistic Brits and spineless mainland and/or Hong Kong collaborators. That kind of proudly nationalistic folk hero narrative isn't new to martial arts cinema. For proof, see the Once Upon a Time in China movies, or any film series that features the popular Chinese figurehead martial artist Tsai Yuk-fong. But the Ip Man movies, especially the three titles that star Yen and are directed by Wilson Yip, Ip Man 2, and Ip Man 3, are very sturdy because they are all formulaic. They don't deliver more or less than what you might expect from an action franchise about a humble local hero who only fights bad men whenever he has to. Thankfully, legendary fight choreographer and sometimes director Wu Ping Yuen, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Sword of Destiny, Iron Monkey, adapting a script by Chan Tai Lee and Edmund Wong, have delivered a movie that sometimes spills out of its predecessor's narrative mold. Their movie is about another shy but virtuosic fighter, Tin Chi Tung, Max Zhang, a single father who has given up martial arts after losing a private fight/match with Ip. Unfortunately for Zhang, the local triad gangs are going through a crisis of leadership. Tough but fair reformed criminal Gan Kwan-so, Michelle Yeoh, wants to become a legitimate businesswoman, while her hothead brother Sai-Kit, Kevin Cheng, wants to sell drugs. And the occupying Brits, represented by evil crime boss Owen Davidson, Dave Bautista, have the meek local cops under their thumb. This cultural sea change prompts some unusual introspection from Toing, a normally impulsive character who now wants to retreat and live a simple life. In that sense, Master Z is a more thoughtful and exciting spin on a predictable story. Sullen hero gets mojo back, realizes his time isn't over yet. You might think you know how the story of Master Z Ip Man Legacy goes, and you probably do, to some extent. But you probably haven't seen it told with such confidence or perspective, not in a while anyway. Filmed on squeaky clean, brightly colored studio sets, lots of yellows, greens, and reds, Tung's story takes place in a glaringly artificial dream world version of Hong Kong around 1959. That feeling of surreality only increases after Tung is forced, by gang-related violence, to move to the neon-lit Bar Street commercial district. When Tung and his fellow martial artists fight, they literally fly, as we see in a characteristically thrilling scene where Tung chases a bunch of acrobatic heavies up and around a series of building scaffolds and neon signs. If nothing else, these displays of physics-defying wire fu send a clear message. Master Z is about as realistic and exuberant and maybe as well choreographed as a Busby Berkeley musical. This glaringly revisionist take on history isn't really new to the Ip Man series. The three Yen Yip Ip Man movies all feature admirable and sometimes thrilling wire fu fight choreography, thanks in no small part to action director Sammo Hung, who worked on Ip Man and Ip Man 2. But Yuan and his team, uncredited in the movie's press notes, deliver superior, joyfully over-the-top action scenes, all of which are governed by the loosey-goosey rules of cartoon physics. In one scene, a full glass of whiskey flies up and around the hands and arms of Yeoh, Zhang, and their respective stunt doubles. In another scene, Tung nimbly twirls his young son around as if the kid were a vaudeville cane or a cardboard Subway ad. In another, Bautista physically beats an opponent's body like a paddleball, punching him with one gigantic hand and then using his other mitt to drag his sparring partner's limp body back for more punishment. These scenes show us the past as we want to remember it, big, bright, superhuman. And let's face it, that's probably what you came to see if you bought a ticket for a movie with Ippy Man in the title. You and me want to hear Tung regain his mojo and growl, "I have come to beat you." Before laying into Bautista's remorseless drug lord, "Chinese don't have options," he grunts as he tucks into a fine piece of steak. So really, what's great about Master Z isn't the way that its creators transcend their chosen formula, but rather how they perfect it. I was especially impressed by the way that co-writers Li and Wang made virtually every character appear to be an extension of Tung's central dilemma. Why does he, a man who's ashamed of his past, deserve a comeback? Because at the end of the day, he's needed, and because everybody else in this movie has a past. Some supporting characters use their pasts to justify committing crimes, while others turn a blind eye and take care of themselves. Ultimately, we want to believe that Tung, and other unbelievable heroes like him, are capable of doing what many of us can't: get over ourselves and act selflessly on behalf of our neighbors, our community, our loved ones. If there must be more movies set in the Ip Man I-verse, I hope that they're as dazzling and righteous as Master Z Man. This will surprise absolutely no one, but Yuan Wu Ping can stage the hell out of a fight. The guy is a legend for good reason. And he displays this particular skill front and center in his latest directorial effort, Master Z Ip Man Legacy, which features choreography on par with some of his best. Inventive and thrilling, it runs the gamut from incredibly technical martial arts skill to high-flying artistry that calls to mind his work on Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Technically, Master Z is a direct sequel to Ip Man 3, as it directly follows the events of that film. That said, it functions more as a spin-off, diverging from the main path to follow a side character. Don't worry, Ip Man 4 drops in a few months to continue Donnie Yen's saga. Instead, we trace Chung Tin-chi, Max Zhang, SPL2. In the wake of his defeat at the hands of Ip Man, he abandons Wing Chun and just wants to keep his head down, run his small grocery store, and be a good single dad to his young son. But best intentions, right? Due to circumstances beyond his control, he finds himself drawn into an underworld of drugs, gangs, corrupt cops, and all the usual trappings of a just when you think you're out saga. The action is, of course, bonkers fantastic. Everyone involved is a top-notch martial artist, and in Yuen's hands, the staging is glorious. It ranges from relatively straightforward throwdowns, like Zhang tussling with a one-fingerless glove and fedora-wearing Tony Jaa, to an elaborate, sprawling brawl in the home of Michelle Yeoh's chilly crime boss Quan, which involves dozens of goons, elaborate choreography, and multiple fights unfolding at once in different planes of view. Even a scene as simple as Quan attempting to give Tin Chi a drink plays out in intricate, dexterous moves and presentation. Relatively early on, after Tin Chi runs afoul of gangster Sosai Kit, Kevin Chang, an expansive sequence unspools as participants ascend scaffolding and Spider-Man from roof to roof, fighting on top of intricated vintage-style neon signs of Bar Street. It's balletic and breathtaking. Even outside of the fights, Master Z manages to remain tense and dramatic, at least for a while. At his core, Tin Chi is a sad, depressed man who just wants to do right by his son. But he also can't stand back and bear witness to injustice, which is what initially gets him into trouble as he steps in to help Julia, herself attempting to save her opium addict friend Nana, Chrissy Chow. While this works initially, the plot eventually spins away from Tin Chi to focus on the intricacies of an unfurling power struggle in the criminal underworld. It's cool because this turf war gives us a bunch of Michelle Yeoh and Dave Bautista, and some epic scuffles. But Tin Chi fades into the background for long stretches, and when he's present, but not with his son, he mostly just broods and isn't particularly interesting. From a narrative and emotional standpoint, the story becomes much less engrossing. At a time when the story feels like it's about to wrap up, it tacks more onto the end. Again, this provides additional opportunities for action, so I can't complain too much. But from a pace and flow perspective, it's an awkward, uneven move. While primarily concerned with family and fisticuffs, Master Z touches on a few interesting themes, only to leave them unexplored. There's an undercurrent of Western imperialism as Hong Kong was under British control at the time. The white cops are corrupt and greedy, outsiders treat locals like second-class citizens in their own home, and in general, everyone seeks to exploit the place and people for all they're worth. The film presents this, and it offers an intriguing historical context. But that's really all. In a similar fashion, there's also an underlying feminist current throughout. It's not exactly accurate to call this a progressive film, but in reality, the female characters have the most agency. Tin Chi rarely acts on his own accord, most of what he does is a reaction. Julia, however, actively confronts Kit and his goons to save her friend. Her brother, Fu Xingyu, is overbearing and thinks the women need to be sheltered. As the head of a male-dominated crime syndicate, Quan butts heads with underlings and business associates who question her every move because she's a woman. It mirrors the typically testosterone-fueled world of marital arts and action cinema, and Michelle Yeoh is incredible, as always. Then men basically bumble around yelling, acting macho, and fighting, while the women have plans and strategies and put thought into their actions. But again, while at hand, there's not much depth or development here. Master Z, Ip Man Legacy is a must-watch for martial arts and action fans. Yuan Wu-ping demonstrates again why he's a master. The narrative is a bit uneven, and there are undercooked themes, but when the film allows Max Zhang to take the spotlight, he sparkles. I'd watch more Tin Chi stories, and if the Ip Man franchise wants to keep spooling out spin-offs like this, that's a shared universe I can roll with. Distributed by Universal Studios. Release dates December 20th, 2018 in Hong Kong, December 21st, 2018 in China. Running time 107 minutes. Countries Hong Kong, China. Languages Chinese, English. Budget $28 million. Box office $21.6 million. So guys, this is their view of Master Ip Man Legacy movie and some information about it. How do you like our today's video? Please let us know by commenting, and if you like this video, please like it, share it, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.